Hey everyone, it's Scott. Welcome to the X-Fed Homestead. Today was a real hot one, and I decided to do the smart thing and spend some time indoors. But now that the weather's changing a little bit, the sun's still out, but it's going down in the sky, and I've got the garden in partial shadow, I think I'll go out and take care of one of my projects. One of the things I was trying to do is to get the onions pulled out of the ground. And so now that it's cooler outside, I can do that. Just like potatoes, onions have to die back a little bit before they're ready. And as you can see here, there's probably only one or two onions that are left vertical now in this particular row. I planted 200 onion sets here, and there are different ways that you can plant onions. You can always start onions from seed, but you can also start them from sets. And sets are actually year-old onions. And sets are created by companies when they plant seeds very close together, and then when they get large enough, about the size of a dime or so or a little bigger, they'll pull them and then package them to sell. I've always found that planting with sets makes a lot of sense for me. But you can also take your onion seeds and direct seed them as well if you want, or grow them inside the house for a while before it's planting time, and then let them grow a little bit and then plant those as well, those little seedlings. So there are a number of different ways you can plant onions. But basically you just need to plant onions in fertile seed, well composted, friable soil, meaning that it's well drained. And once you do that, then you just leave them alone. I just left these onions alone here, and they do just fine. We had a lot of rain this season, but as long as you're watering them regularly, they don't really need a ton of water, even though they have shallow roots. Like I said, leave them alone, and most of the time, onions will do just fine. It's a great time to pick onions once they die back. You can see here, the greenery that was the stalk of the plant has just died and fallen over. I like to leave them for a week or so once they've fallen over and really allow the onion a chance to grow finally through those final stages, and then I pick them. Now, I'm going to pull my onions, and since it's cooler out, it's a great time to pull them, and I know that the rest of the week is going to be sunny. So I'm going to leave them right here on the ground for the rest of the week in order to cure. So all I have to do is just pull them out of the soil and just leave them on their sides, and I'll come back in a day or so and flip them over. If it's going to rain, which it's not supposed to this week, you can just pull them inside for a while. Some people put them in fences, some people lay them on grates, some people lay them on hardware cloth or racks to dry out. You just want to make sure that the sun gets to them and this outer skin will become crispy and solid. That's it. One thing you need to know about onions is that they don't compete with weeds very well, especially because they have a shallow root system. One of the things that I did very early in the season is just take my grass clippings, just like this, and sprinkle them lightly over 6 or 8 inch tall onion stalks. Just like this, almost like snow and grass on top of them. And then that covered the onions in a smooth layer of grass, and they just grew up through that. Worked perfectly all season. I think I took a handful of weeds out of here, and so that worked really well for me. You may want to try it. You can see my row of onions have died off. The stalks have fallen over completely, so they're definitely ready to be picked. Once I pick the onions, I'll leave them out here on the dirt, right in the row here, for several days so that they can cure. And once they cure, then I can put them down in the cellar. I'll just take a milk crate, roll them up in the milk crate, and they will last all winter long. I just started growing onions again this year when I ran out of onions from last year. So let me pick these. All I'm going to do is pull them out and just leave them on the ground. Should go by fairly quickly. Now as I'm sitting here taking out these onions, they've got a great smell to them. They're stored in a number of different ways. Some people will braid them. They'll take the stalks once they're somewhat dry and start braiding them together so that they can hang in a group, which is one way to do it. Then when you want an onion, you just come and you snip it off the bottom of the braid. I don't like to do it. It's a little bit of work to do that. I'm not very good at braiding. So another way to store them is to put them in a mesh sock, if you want to do it that way, and then you just twist it, cut off each section of the sock as you want the onions. I'm a simple guy. I just like to put them in a milk crate and put them in the basement where it's nice and cool and dark. And every once in a while I go down there when I'm in my shop and I look through the onions to make sure none of them have turned soft or anything. And usually I have really great luck at storing them in the basement. So that's the simplest thing that I like to do. Just want to make sure that all of these see the sun. The only trouble I'm having here is that the grass that I use to mulch it will sometimes block the sun, so I got to make sure I take it off of all of the onions as I lay them out. I've already taken a number of onions for dinner already this summer, so there aren't any more at the end of the row here. And that's it, 200 onions, pretty quick work. Well, as you can see, it didn't take any time at all to pick all those onions out of the ground and leave them out to be cured. I got a nice batch of onions. I could go in and eat these right now. I'll probably have at least one with dinner. But that's all I have for the moment. Hey, well, it's been about a week since I last pulled the onions out of the ground, and they've been laying here for the whole time, and it's been a very warm week. You can see that row of dried onions right there. Beautiful stuff. And we got thunder showers coming. I don't know if you can see the sky, but I can hear the thunder in the distance. So I'm going to take a chance here and pick these up, harvest them. You can see the skins of the onions have gotten crunchy and dry. Well, they've been sitting out in the sun this week. It's been in the 90s. And the stems, well, they've dried away. So I could pull most of them off if I want, but I think what I'll do is I'll just put them in the milk crate. I've got a milk crate here. I just put a piece of cardboard in the bottom, and I'm just going to harvest them right into that. So won't take but a minute, and then we'll have onions for the whole winter. Usually I get away with one milk crate every season, fill it up to the brim with onions, but really good year this year, so I got to go get another milk crate. And what I'm doing is I'm harvesting them. They have some dried grass on them. You can see how they've dried out. And as I harvest them, I'll just pull off the dried tops and leave those for a little carbon. Throw those down. I'll leave those to mix in with the soil next season. So nothing really goes to waste. I got to get another milk crate and I'll be right back. That right there. That is nice. It's in the 90s today, but it's been warm all week, so it's been great to cure our onions outside. But now, you see, that's a great look at a good bunch of onions. This has been a great onion harvest, and we've got more things to harvest on the way. So this is Scott at the XFed Homestead. See you next time. Looks like we got those onions in just in time.